Hi, smart learners. Welcome to School of Speech and Poise with Love. And of course, my name is Robert, and I am happy to have you join me today. So, I will be showing you in this video how you can think before you talk or coordinate your thoughts before you speak in 6 practical steps. So, without wasting too much time, let's get started. So, number 1, pause before you speak. Use silence as a strategy. It's not a sign of weakness. That strategy helps you to put together the words before it comes out of your mouth. The next thing is, how long are you to pause for? Actually, for 1 to 2 seconds. So this is the time that you use to put together your thoughts. But then, the next question is, what exactly would I be doing in 1 to 2 seconds? Let me show you what to do practically. So, in that time, when the question is asked, for example, Miss Love, what do you think about pupils going out of the state for an excursion? That's a question. Perhaps I wasn't even expecting that. So, this is what you can do. You could say, okay, that's a great question. Excursion is something that is created. You see, I started with something that I knew what to say on. So before you finish talking about that particular word, you may have given your brain the time to put together something to say generally on the topic. So that is exactly what you would do in the 1 to 2 seconds that you have to pause. Alright, so the next step is for you to do a little research on the questions that you may likely be asked. For example, if you are going for an interview, you can sit and think about the questions that you might be asked by the interviewer. So after researching these questions or putting it down, you can equally try to bring up the answers so that you are not caught unawares. At least you have some basic information about yourself, about the job, or about what to say. So this makes it a little easier for you when you are asked a question. At least you can use these points that you have to generate whatever you need to answer. Okay? The next we move to number 3. For number 3, think in headlines. What does it mean? So if you have to give a contribution in a meeting, for example, a question like this is asked. Why do you think we should ban food sellers in this facility? You want to say something about it. You do not just raise your hand without coordinating your thoughts. How can you think in headlines? You want to say something about food sellers selling stale food as fresh. So you put together the headlines. That's enough for you to raise your hand. So that when you're finally given the opportunity, you know that that is your main point, and whatever you say as part of it, at least the listeners have already gotten the main point. Alright, we move to number 4, which is using the PREP formula, the PrEP formula. Now, if a question like this is asked, which would you encourage your children to pursue? Is it becoming a doctor or a lawyer? Now the first P, points. You can start by saying, I would prefer my son or daughter to become a teacher or a lawyer because we move to the R. And then after you've stated the reason, you move to the example. I had a friend a long time ago who her son was a doctor and wasn't doing well and whatever. That's your example. And then you move to restating the point again, which makes me arrive at the point that I would likely encourage my children to be lawyers, not doctors. Yes, so point, reason, example, and restate the point again. Correct formula. Alright, we move to the next. Speak to be understood, not to impress. So speak as if you are talking to a 12-year-old. So you would likely be after the person understanding, not to impress them with your choice of words or to show that you are super intelligent. Of course, that's not a fact that has to be disputed. But use short sentences, simple words, and try to make your points clear. That would be better than trying to impress the audience. For the last point, you can use the 1, 2, 3 rule for clarity. What does this involve? So, you could say, I prefer to be a fashion influencer and not a designer because of 3 reasons. Okay, so you go ahead to state the 1, the 2, and of course the last. So this can easily be done if you had put together a little idea about what you will be asked. Now, as a review, what have we talked about? In order for you to coordinate your thoughts before you speak, especially before an audience, number 1, you have to pause before you speak. Number 2, you have to do a little research on the kind of questions that you would likely be asked. And for number 3, think in headlines. Number 4, use the PREP formula for profile. And for number 5, speak to be understood, not to impress. And finally, practice the 1, 2, 3